Alright, bat signal sent out. I don't know how I feel about this. It says dance and electronic, but it feels like they're trying to be country and western, but in like a bad way. Ugh. Kya! What's up, Thiago? Trying to think of where we're going to start today. This will definitely need the color put down. It feels really sturdy. It's not rolling. It's got the magnets still in it, so it's in a good condition. I'm happy about it. So I'm thinking we got to get the black primer and just brush it on super quick. Get this set up. Thinking we just have to get through that real quick because the black primer will take a minute or two to set. So I gotta grab my primer container. The issue is, look at this. This is my black primer. This froth here is the separation. Like, I'm trying so hard to keep it from separating too much, but doesn't always work. Is this the Mod Podge brush? No, it's actually good. This will work. Things are coming up, Evan. Let's go. God, there's still so much separation. We're hoping the Mod Podge sealed as much of this cork as possible. I might just have to airbrush the primer on. I don't know. It's pooling, which is good. So that means it's not like soaking in. It's not ripping the cork up at all. But I am feeling like it would just be better to airbrush it. Problem. I was worried how the cork was going to play out. Do you have a plan going in for your caster can? Or are you trying to do like official? You go official caster can. You're gonna go. Dude, there's so much Netflix. The problem with Netflix, they have some good stuff, but over time when you listen to their lyric-based work, you start to realize it's just it's like a equation almost. The same concepts, the same words, the same everything. It's just like almost paint by numbers for music. Weird.
We control the airwaves, no negotiation. I refuse to think we think that we've all had enough. What keeps you up at night, yeah. Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough. Yeah, I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling it wrong. You got me like, oh yeah, I think that we've all had enough.
I painted my Kasrkin like super bright colors because I thought it would be cool. I tried to kind of stick close to the general Kasrkin colors because like their underarmor is usually like a khaki or like a yellowish color, so I went with like a bright yellow. And then their armor is usually that dark green, so I went with a bright green, and I was like, this is cool. And then at the end of it, they look like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And I was like, oh, no way. Because then you have that moment of realization. Because everyone that, so far, a lot of the people that have seen it have been like, hey, you painted your guys like Marvel Comics Hydra, right? Or you painted them like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And I'm like, I painted them as they are, just slightly higher saturation. What does that say about their color scheme? I kind of wish I did it. I found this one really cool color scheme that I was thinking of doing, but I opted out last minute. It was beige for pretty much all the cloth, like military beige. I was actually going to airbrush. I thought of airbrushing them all beige, utilizing that color, because I have a lot of military airbrush colors. So like military beige was on the docket, like I had it. And then you paint all the armor black. Or at least paint them gray and then hit them with a black speed paint to get the edge highlighting like quickly done. Going desert camo, black robes. But yeah, like all fabric beige, armor black. That actually looked really cool, in my opinion, because it serves, in my opinion, no double opinion. Haha. It serves no purpose, right? Like, what's the tactical benefit to having beige Under Armour and then just like stark black components of armor on top of it? Like, it looked military, but it looked like inefficient military, which I thought was awesome. Like, not even camo patterned, nothing really to break up the visualization of what's there. Did you lean into that with your Kroot, though? Were you just like, you know what, screw it, and just started using only Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle colors? Green skin, different blues, orange, purples, and reds for quills.
I've been searching too hard for my soul.
Maybe they all ate the turtle soup.
It matters which words lead us home. When the end will not reveal its face, I guess I will rest in palms of grace.
Yeah, but I mean, when you think of Space Marines, you do understand there is no tactical advantage to their armor color. It's just, it's knights. Like, it's heraldry. That's all it is. That's the most important thing, is seeming like an actual group. Like, even the ones who have the colors where you're like, oh yeah, these guys are stealth. Like the Ravens, the Raptors, and all that. Even that feels like they're just doing it to be like, haha, we are of the house Raptor. Like there's a level of it where it has to feel like that. Imperial Guard do that a lot too, but I mean I feel like there's more Imperial Guard in existence that genuinely are like, well, we're on an ice planet, let's put on our white clothing. Like there's at least some Imperial Guard where you're like, yeah, they know what they're doing. They're good. Space Rangers just like, you know, screw it. It's more about being recognizable icons in the universe than it is to not be seen. Or maybe you have Alpha Legion technology for holograms. You know the Alpha Legion rumor, right? The reason their symbol is a 3-headed Hydra instead of a 2-headed Hydra is that the twins are actually triplets, and no one knew that the triplet existed. They kept it a secret. So there is actually a Primarch for the Alpha Legion that exists. You know your brand's doing all right when the customers that buy your stuff are so active at writing fan fiction for you. That's got to be a weird situation though, because imagine right now if in Games Workshop that is the running information, right? That within their like halls of lore tracking and things they talk about as to like what they'll do with story going forward. Imagine being the writer who's like, no one will ever guess there's a third twin. Like there's that the Alpha Legion Primarchs were actually triplets and not twins. Man, no one will pick up on it, and then we'll reveal it. And we'll reveal that it's because their symbol is a 3-headed Hydra instead of a 2-headed Hydra. Isn't that gonna be great? And then to go to like a Reddit one day and see people talking about it and being like, oh no, because then you know if you do release that information at some point, if you're like, here's the story, haha, it's cool. Like, there's gonna be a guy who's like, they stole my idea. And it's like, you sons of bitches. Like, it's just too weird. It's too weird of a situation. That's why fan fiction is weird for me, for anything. Like, it's a sign of a healthy community that's very interested in what you're making, but it's also a sign that, like, at some point, one of your stories you're writing is just going to equate to fan fiction, and then the fan fiction writer is going to be annoyed that you didn't give them credit for something that was, like, it was already your thought before they even wrote the fan fiction. You just didn't put it out yet. I just think that's, like, kind of funny. Yeah, the Mod Podge worked out really well. I will advise anyone who wants to do basing and textures and stuff that are like weird and you don't want them to fall apart or you want to reinforce your base, Mod Podge. Look for the matte Mod Podge because it is dried matte. Even in like the thicker areas where the Mod Podge was, there's no reflection at all. Like it's just, these look like just bases with cork glued to them. And that's it. Nothing else going on here. Okay, what's going on with my music right now? Where are we going here? Yeah, I'm really happy with how the Mod Podge assisted this. What up, Dragon? Happy April Fools. Am I even streaming today? Are we live? You don't know. It's April Fools. Spoilers, I'm streaming. So I beat Dragon's Dogma. Checked out the New Game Plus a little bit. I reset up my pawn because I'm assuming so I saw this when I went back in. I found a pawn that was like level 50 and was wearing like basic armor and had a basic weapon. And I was like, oh yeah. This is someone who went into New Game Plus and then, you know, set their pawn up a little bit and then never actually made it to the point where they re-equipped them with anything. They were just like, screw it, whatever. I've seen New Game Plus, it's over. So now if somebody wants to use my pawn, it's level 60. It's got the good endgame gear that I gave it from killing all the dragons. I liked it. It was fun. It had the same weirdness the first game had. The thing probably one of the big things I actually don't like about it is the first Dragon's Dogma had like a really cool endgame, and maybe this one will get a DLC for like an interesting endgame. Because eventually Dragon's Dogma 1 got that like Mist Isle endgame where you could just go to the Mist Dungeon and fly around and do some crazy stuff. And this didn't really have that infinite dungeon concept in it. And then the ending of Dragon's Dogma 1 involved that like whole world shift that allowed you to like go to these interesting levels of a dungeon and fight interesting monsters. And like combinations of monsters and stuff, which was cool because it was like challenge mode, right? Like it was boss rush pretty much. But like this didn't have that. The end game for this Dragon's Dogma was absolutely crazy. I did not expect it. And oh my god, the fact that they don't tell you the change that happens, like one of the big changes that happened in the end game, that's gonna piss off so many people if they come across it. Because stage 2 of Dragon's Dogma is, how do I put this? Kind of like a rogue style game, sort of, not really. It's hardcore. It's hardcore, I guess would be the best way to put it. You have one save file, and if you die, you start all the way back where you started. It was an interesting idea. Because technically the way the endgame works is it takes a snapshot of the game that you kind of made based on your interactions, the characters that liked you, missions you've done, the ways those missions ended. It makes a snapshot of that world, translates it into like this endgame world, and then you have to try to beat the game based on that translation. Your levels, your vocations, all of those are snapshotted, and you can save and exit, and that's fine. You'll come back and be where you were. But if you die, the only thing you can do is go back to where the beginning of your snapshot was. So like I died. I didn't know this, so I was doing some exploring and like checking out this really cool tower that I found in the main castle, and then I accidentally jumped over one of the balconies, and I was falling, and it was like, yo, you want to use a wake stone to resurrect? And I was like, it seems like a dumb death. I'll just reload, because I don't have too many wake stones. I might need it for a boss fight. So I just said, nah, it's cool. And it was like, all right. And then backed out, and it was like, and the only option I had from the menu was start from the beginning of friggin' the tier 2 world. And I was like, what? So I lost like 6 hours of play. Oh my god. Going to get AK colors, but I found it very confusing what to get next given the multiple shades. Which one's the AK? AK. Why does that sound familiar? I think I've seen them.
Well, the highway has a way of playing tricks on tired eyes. I swear that I see you riding shotgun late at night. Seems that you're the only thing that never leaves my mind. The only thing worth getting right. So am I too far gone? 'Cause I'm running home. If only in my mind I am somewhere across that great divide.
I'm looking it up because I think I know the bottles like in my head. AK Interactive Paint. Ah, yes, I know this brand. So were you trying to get shades, or were you just trying to get like a set of colors that has like multiple shades within it, so that you can get like different levels of like a purple or green or something, so you can, you know, not have to mix as you go. You can just use what you got. I'm not gonna lie, I am kind of looking forward to painting these. I already kind of have an idea on what we're gonna do here. Yeah, but they want you to, so the whole goal of it is that you beat the game in that snapshot, right? Like, you can still level your vocation and stuff. You still level up by killing things. But, like, they really hit you with some hard bosses. Like, I'm talking things where if you are not ready, if you do not have gear, if you do not have the tools needed to heal, if you don't have the right stuff, those things are going to kill you, and then the game is going to go, hey... ready to start it again and try anew. And the big issue is, in my opinion, the timing in this game, in this end game. Oh my god! Because one of the key elements of it is they want you to evacuate all the populated areas of this world to this one spot in the middle of the map, because giant calamities are happening everywhere. And if you time it wrong. Oh no, what's that? Oh, it's just like a little white goo. I must have hit it with something. That's fine. It's gone. If you don't time yourself well. If you don't have good portal stones, if you're not able to like maintain your health while doing this, you'll lose people. Because the calamities will occur and it'll destroy whole parts of the map. So you have to try to like save everyone, do all the boss fights. But if you don't do all the boss fights, the calamity occurs and you don't do the fight, because the calamities will just cut the map off. So you don't actually fight the bosses. It's like really weird. It might make the final boss harder. I don't know. It was cool though. So I know AK mostly from its texture pastes. Wet Mud. Yeah, I know AK from their textures. I don't know AK from their colors. They do inks though. Inks are nice. But at least the game is New Game Plus, because once you beat the story, that's it. You see the ending, you get this whole big thing happening that's like, hey, you did it. Congratulations. And you know, it feels pretty good. It feels actually really rewarding, since most of the way that Dragon's Dogma 2 works is that the quests and the method of getting through the game and actually completing it aren't very apparent. Like, I figured some of it out. Some of it I actually had to look up a little bit, because I wanted to do the Sphinx riddles without messing them up. And the Sphinx riddles are very much like, hey, you're not going to have a good time. Hey, you're not really going to know what's happening here. You're not really going to understand what she's saying. But I was like, I really want to see if I can do the Sphinx riddles and get to the end. But one of the riddles is actually a endurance test, which is super annoying. And I messed it up because I was trying to climb up a cliff, and then my guy dropped the pot she was having me carry and broke it. And I was like, no. So I went back because I was hoping there'd be a new pot, or she'd be like, try again. Nope. She was like, well, you failed. And then flies away. I was like, no. I was so mad. But then, yeah, you get to New Game Plus. Hopefully they release like a Infinite Tower or like some cool boss rush thing like they did in the earlier games. I was really hoping we were going to get the similar outcome of the first game, where you create like a hole in the world, which was crazy when that happened. It was a whole lot of things, this is what I liked about the game. When you're walking around, you hear rumors about how the world works. And like hidden histories of the world, like the people and everyone will start saying weird stuff. Like, hey, did you know the city was here before humans even arrived? And I was like, what the hell? Like, you start hearing this and you're like, I don't know, man, there's no way. But then a lot of stuff starts happening and you're like, oh my god, those rumors might actually all be true. This might be a reality of this world. Humans were not here originally, and all the stuff we're dealing with and seeing are part of this grander scheme from these unseen beings. I don't know, it was really cool. And they kind of did the same thing here. They kind of pulled it off, but like, I don't know, the ending was just like, and it's over. New Game Plus. Which just feels weird. I still think it was a worthwhile time. It's just like, at the end of the day, I really wish that it could have given me more, to the point where like I wake up, maybe give it like 20 minutes of play while I'm waking up. You know, I'll be like, oh, let me do this dungeon run, let me do this infinite run, because there were things I ran into that made me think there was like extra stuff going on, but then it didn't end up happening. Like some of the mines you walk into and start going through, you eventually get to the end of it, and there's a door. It's not just like a door sitting there. It's a door that's buried under rubble, and it has like all this ancient writing around the outer area. I'm like, oh, there's got to be a situation where everything changes, and then this door becomes like an open thing you can go to and interact with, and that'll be really cool. And who knows, maybe in the world, the stage 2 of the world, the thing I did to get to the end game, maybe that's like one of the end games, and maybe the other is, rather than saving people, you go to those doors and figure out like how to deal with whatever's beyond the door, and then it changes everything. What happens if I mean, I guess everyone would die in those situations, because when you trigger the calamity to try to stop the calamity, it does do the whole brine thing, so the whole area would be filled with brine, which would mean everyone would die. It's a difficult one, man. I guess that's why I like the game. It's making me think that there was other options that weren't very apparent, that might lead to like a more interesting or secretive ending. No matter how you cut it, though, whoever created the world of Dragon's Dogma and created the rules and situations and like the writing and all that, that person is crazy. Like, there's almost nothing that happens at the end of Dragon's Dogma that makes too much sense. It's very esoteric in its writing. Which can be fine. There's a lot of games that do that. It's like a cultural difference thing. It's just crazy. Both good and bad. Just wild amounts of crazy. Like, I get it. I get the gist of the world, right? The gist of the world is that the world only really exists and keeps itself from being unraveled because there's this extracurricular thing, this extra out there existence of beings that live under the ocean who are able to manipulate people on the surface to perform tasks in a sequence, in a constant order, and then that order is what keeps the world intact. Keeps it from unraveling and falling into calamity. So in theory, the actual villain in the game is your quest log, which sort of plays into the idea that the quest log will tell you to do things, but it's not always the way you need to complete them, right? Like, it'll be like, go here and hand it in. But then maybe you wander somewhere else and talk to someone, and that person's like, what's this? Oh, that's crazy that you have this. And then you can, like, give it to them instead, and then something else happens that's completely different. So, like, the quest log is the ultimate puzzle and villain of the game. Because that's kind of the gist of the game, is that the quest log exists in sort of a manner of forcing you to go away, where you're supposed to be the hero, you're supposed to end up being the king. Because that was what was preordained, but doesn't that mean that all of what you're doing isn't you doing it? Like, if it's all fate and all preordained, then anything you do, any of your accolades, any of the challenges you face was never about you winning it. It was always just about this extra thing giving you the ability to win. And manipulating you the whole time to do it, to take on the role, be yet another controlled player in the game. So, like, it's cool in concept, but, like, the way it was written was just kind of, like, weird. I feel like, it almost had the Metal Gear Solid 4 issue of not having enough time. Right? Like, I feel like the story needed, like, an extra 50 hours. Which, yeah, that wasn't gonna happen. That's not on the docket for a game like Dragon's Dogma to get, like, an 100-hour game. Because there was so much more they needed to establish. Like, they kind of rushed the relationship between you and another character that became part of, like, a cliche story idea that was used to try to manipulate you into doing something. Like, there needed to be more build-up of that character, because it just felt weird. Uh, 60. 50 on the stage 1 of the game, and then 10 on stage 2. Stage 2 actually happens very quick, if you do it right. Like, there's not a lot of side quests to do. The cataclysms kind of force your hand into needing to finish things. Because, like, apparently the way it works is the missions you originally had before going into stage 2 of the world, they persist. So when you come back, you can still technically do the missions until you get everyone in that area to leave. Once you get everyone in that area to head out, then the missions are over, you can no longer do side quests. And then that's it. You have to take on the cataclysms. Yeah, Metal Gear Solid 4 was just insane cutscenes. MGS5 was in a similar way, but MGS5 also did take a metric ton of hours because you were running around a lot, doing things, but Metal Gear Solid 5 didn't have any time Like, looking into all the stuff that was planned would have been so cool, but at the same time, that game would have been like 200 hours long. That game would have been so long. Friggin' seeing what the end game was supposed to be, where the kid had the Metal Gear on the island, and you and like everyone was supposed to team up and go to the island to try to stop him. So it's just like hundreds of NPCs and helicopters and like war stuff flying to this island that assist you. It was so crazy looking. I loved it. All right, we gotta determine what we want the base to look like. 'Cause I don't know. They're gonna be standing on it. We need a good ground color, or like an interesting ground color, maybe. I'm gonna be converting all of the orc armor to blue. I don't think I'm gonna Acerman blue. I think I'm actually gonna use layer blue. So we're gonna do like deep blue or something, or just a dark blue and go over it. So we could actually use like a dark gray for the basing and be fine with it. Stuff is still drying though. Jesus. This is some Wii Shop ass music. I actually really like Metal Gear Solid 5. I know a lot of people hated it because it's like it was a massive departure from old Metal Gear Solid, which is what got everyone into it. And that always, to a lot of people, that always feels like a sort of like an insult, or I guess a betrayal would be the better word or term. Because it's like, oh man, a new Metal Gear Solid, and I'm huge into Metal Gear Solid, and every game leading up till now has always felt kind of samey, with like advancements here and there. So obviously this game's gonna do the same exact thing, and I'm gonna love it. But then it didn't, and it was like really a big departure from the old ones. And everyone was like, oh, I feel so betrayed. Like, alright. Meanwhile, I played it and I was like, it was really good. I really wish the ending was actually in this game. And I played a lot of the old Metal Gear Solids and I was like, these are okay. I don't know. They're fine. I wouldn't put them on a pedestal, but I also wouldn't consider them garbage. They were fine. We're really gonna have to use like a really light dry brush, I think, for the uniform gray. Before I dove into any of the other Metal Gear Solids, my first Metal Gear Solid was actually Metal Gear Solid Rise, which I know isn't even really Kojima. It was like a side thing that they had as an idea, and like a different group took control of it to try to make something interesting while still maintaining like Kojima-esque qualities, which they did. I mean, the entire game was basically another predictive game. The classic Kojima prediction of how the world is going to work soon. Not only did it point out that online posts that are manipulated and memed upon are going to control the way people view the world, but it also had a senator, or a politician basically, whose entire thing was about like ruining the country to try to like make it like stronger through basically forcing everyone through the hardest times ever. And his slogan he kept yelling was "Make America Great Again." I was like, what? When that started happening in real life, I was like, whoa. Metal Gear Solid, man. I don't know how they do it. Like, the fact that that was in that game and then it started happening in real life, I was like, holy shit.
Most days I can barely leave my bed. Someone lives rent free inside my head. I say I'm not okay, I'm terrified when I go to sleep.
The fact that not a lot of people remembered that that was in that game when that started happening in real life. At first I was like, man, Kojima did it again, but then I remember that game wasn't really Kojima. But like, that just means it's weird, right? That just means like the Metal Gear Solid brand is like hyper predictive. Whoever's in that writer's room, like anybody who gets on the writer's room for Metal Gear Solid, or almost like any Kojima like branded game, they're told to think in a specific way to come up with like these weird situations, and then all of a sudden it's like they've written the future. It's so crazy. Like actually kind of wild.
Please, God, can you give me some relief? I've been out here hiding like a thief. I'll pull the windows down when I feel
Yeah, that was the whole thing. It was like memes control the world. And I was like, when I was playing it, I was like, I mean, I guess they could. And now we're in the future. And like a decent post online that's like manipulated and controlled seems to sway so much attention of people towards like certain outcomes. And it's like, oh my god, this is actually a thing. They figured it out. They solved the riddle. Yeah, Simpsons. It's Simpsons and Metal Gear. Hyper predictive.
Galaxies, nightmares, I don't think they fight fair. Why am I so sad all the time? I don't wanna take my drugs, I just wanna be okay. Will I ever feel again? Galaxies, nightmares.
I'm liking the cork approach. Cork is good. I don't see myself using this often though. I think I already talked about how if I do more cork bases, it's probably gonna be on conversions and like leader units for a specific thing. Like I still am thinking of getting the Ozark Bone Reaper dragon monster things. What's up, Slow? And if I do, I want to convert them to look like Demon Princes, and I think the main difference between them and actual Chaos Demon Princes is the height. So I'm thinking, I still have a ton of cork. So if I get the Ozark Bone Reapers and I want to make 2 Demon Princes with wings out of them, I think I'll do like a stacked cork thing and give them like a dynamic flight pose on top of the cork to try to make them look tall enough to be a Demon Prince. You know, cover this in skulls and do all that type of stuff. I think that'll work. Yeah, what's up, Slow? We're working on our basing right now. We're trying to finish out some busy work stuff for these projects. I just redid all the sand basics, but we're waiting for it to dry for my new Castigator base, because the old Castigator base was, you know, it rocked back and forth. You don't want that. What is this song? Funeral in Sonola? Okay. Yeah, now that I'm done Dragon's Dogma, I don't really have another game on the horizon just yet. I think the only real big one I'm looking forward to, okay, technically Gigantic, which is in like 5 days, but I am so worried about that game right now. Because it's Gearbox as a publisher, and Gearbox just got sold, and a ton of people just got laid off. So like, that whole thing is so suspect right now as to whether or not that game is gonna actually like happen, last, or anything, right? Because it could launch and then whoever currently owns it could be like, nah, shut those servers down. And then like all these people would have this game that they can't play anymore. Because the game's not even out for pre-order. Like, the game's coming out soon, they didn't put it up for pre-order. Because I think even they're worried that it's going to be shut down. Omega tier sucks. So I was really looking forward to it. A lot of the people I used to play with who actually still remember me, that's why I really loved that game. Like I saw a bunch of people start streaming again because they heard the game was coming back. And they're like really excited about it. And so I popped in their streams, I was like, hey, what up? And they were like, oh my god. Like, people remember me from that game. Which is crazy to me. People, like, remember me as a streamer, as a person who they play, like, against and with. Like, they remembered me. And I was like, dude, this is why I love this game, man. This community was one of the best communities. Freaking loved it. Loved it. Now it's coming back, but its existence is suspect, which is not good. And the thing is, a lot of the people in the community don't seem to know that that's what's going on. I've been to a few of their channels, and they've been like, "Oh, are you looking forward to it? What do you think is going to happen?" And then I tell them. I tell them what's happening, and they're like, "Oh God," because we all want the game back, man. We want it back so bad. We're gonna build this up. We're gonna go into uniform gray. We're gonna try to dry brush it a bit. And then we're gonna do a really light dry brush of ash. I wanna say we'll do the ash. We're gonna leave the mid white. I use a filbert brush as my dry brush. It's probably not the best because the bristles are soft. But I feel like if you limit the amount of pigment on the bristles, it's really good. I might go to a paint night tonight. I don't know. I feel like I really need to get one of my longer term evergreen videos together, or at least start getting it together. I have a 2 terabyte cloud storage drive for like all the B-roll and everything I take on my phone. I just upload it and it's almost full. I have so much footage on there, so many hours of footage for just my Cerastus, the Mutalith Vortex Beast stuff. I'm trying to plan how I'm gonna record the tournament this weekend, so I can do my first tournament back kind of video. Wait, are you... So what's the full story? Because I know you said something about this in the Discord. What's the full story on this? Are you buying it from someone who already painted it and is just trying to, like, get out of the game, or maybe doesn't want to store it anymore? Or, like, what's the full... Or are you paying someone to put it together and paint it? Also, are you sure it's a 40k Reaver Titan, or are you doing something with Adeptus Titanicus? Because you gotta be... It used to be that you were fine, right? Like, if you were like, I got a Reaver Titan, it's like, oh cool, you got a Reaver Titan. Now, because of Adeptus Titanicus, it's like, do you have a Reaver Titan, or do you have an Adeptus Titanicus Reaver Titan? Because those are tiny. I think they're smaller than Dreadnoughts. So you kind of want to make sure you're getting the right one. But, okay, you could. I wouldn't, I mean, if you want to repaint it, or at least cover up some of the paint to make it look like a Salamander's. The thing is, if you're going to repaint it like fully, and you need to repaint it fully, you're going to want to strip it. You don't want to like leave paint on it, because you're going to need to go back down to the resin. That's a lot of work. You're probably going to need to disassemble a lot of it, which that's work as well, depending on how the person who glued it together did it. But lore-wise, if that's what you're worried about, usually knights aren't from like their factions, right? Knights are usually from something extra. The whole knight range was, it's all about like houses. It's all about like what faction house they came from, or like what background, what heritage. So the idea of it needing to be your faction color, not necessary. Like the way I did my knights, they are kind of like Zinchi colored, but they're not really like, they're not really the same build and visualization as my army. But this also means they're not really like a house, right? Like I'm actually, when they release the codex, what's most likely going to happen is the houses are going to come back as detachments. And like none of the houses are going to, or none of them are going to really feel like my kind of goal with like psychic friggin' knights. They're probably going to walk away from that a little bit. Which I get why they would do that. Knights probably shouldn't lean into Psyker, although that is really good for other armies that have a lot of anti-Psyker options. Ooh, okay. I guess he just doesn't, yeah. Because you don't really use them that often. I know they're cheap enough to be played in 2,000-point tournaments. But like, they don't do well because almost everyone that plays the game knows how to deal with them. And that's like I think that's half of your army or over half of your army. How much is a Reaver Titan? I need to check the points value on it. I've seen a lot of tournaments where people play them. I've seen people play them and Bio Titans. Waha. Warhammer. Apparently they're adding Horus Heresy to their rules list, which is cool. Ugh. Are they under Chaos Knights or are they under Unaligned? They're not under Unaligned. Those are Porophons, Carnivores, Huntsmans. Do they not have Reavers? Or are Reavers under something else? Adeptus Titanicus. I guess Adeptus Titanicus is universal. Here we are, Reavers. Oh, you can't. Okay, Reavers are 2,200. Well, I thought one of these... Oh, it's the Warhound. The Warhound is 1,100. Okay. So the Warhound is the one you can field. The Reaver, not so much.
Remember when you said it doesn't get better than this?
Yeah, okay, I see it now.
Only a fool would have let you go.
If you're playing large-scale battles, I guess that works. But yeah, no, you can paint it salamander colors. It just... for somebody who's like really into the lore, I don't think like Titans aren't supposed to be related to Adeptus Astartes chapters. They were supposed to be things that fought alongside Imperial armies as like specialty houses that were kind of like how you view rogue traders, or how the universe views rogue traders, as like these really like powerful, like lots of influence type people. Because they're knights, right? Like they're knights that get to like wander around and, you know, they take on tasks provided to them by whoever's leading their army. And when like the local Imperial Guard lord or whatever's over there is like, hey, we need a knight in this area or we might lose it. It's actually, I guess to a degree, the house gets to choose whether or not they agree to join. Like if there's like 2 or 3 houses in the area, a bunch of them could be like, we will not support you. And then like one of them could be like, oh yeah, we're in. We're in. Give us the information so we can bring the right tools or whatever.
Cause I see colors for the last night, now it doesn't feel right. I'll just have to say goodbye one last time. I know that it's hopeless, but
Oh, dude, Reavers are 2,000.
nothing's ever black and white.
Yeah, when you're told, like, oh, well, you're fighting other knights, then they bring, like, their Meltagons and freaking Warp Strike Claws or whatever they got. They'll design themselves to kill their enemy in bulk. It's their whole purpose. God, I keep looking at this Castigator, and all I want to do now is change my army list for the tournament this Saturday. The army list lock-in, I think, is on the 2nd. Ugh. I want to put him on a table, but after experiencing how he worked, I hate him so much. Most Psyker Knights aren't really used. There's an Imperial one. Which one's the Imperial one? I know the Chaos one, and no one likes the Chaos one. I like the Chaos one. I like the weirdness of him. I like that he has a multi-shot dev wound gun that has a ton of damage per shot with like no AP. It's literally the ultimate casino, because if I roll 6 attacks against your tank with it and 3 of them end up being dev, that tank's dead. Like, I'm just gonna tell you right now, that tank's dead. Well, dude, you gotta know what it's called. I'm on the Imperial Knights page. Let me go through a few of these. The Preceptor, Sir Hector. It wouldn't be any of the Cerastus Knights, right? So that's not Psyker. That's not Psyker. That's not Psyker. Just going through, looking for the Psyker keyword. Dominus, no. Imperium, Titanic Towering. No, 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 no. Doesn't look like it. It's in lore? No. Nah, the only Psyker Knight I know of is the Thousand Suns, or not the Chaos Knights one. The what's it called again? Abominant. I like that. I like it. At the start of your shooting phase, select one enemy unit within 12 inches of this model. Make that unit take a battle shock test. It's simple. Warp Storm. At the end of your movement phase, roll 1d6 for each enemy unit within 9 inches of this model. On a 3+, that enemy unit suffers D3 mortal wounds. It's good. It's fun. Like, personally, I want to run like a couple Mutalith Vortex Beasts and an Abominant. Because think about this. Abilities like this that are considered... Okay, also, abilities that are considered aura always go over top of each other, and you can't multi-hit with auras. This is not an aura. Vortex Terrors, not an aura. Warp Storms, not an aura. Which means if you have 2 Knight Abominants on the front line near each other, every single unit within 9 inches of both of them has to take 2 sets of D3 mortal wounds, potentially. They also could target the same squad twice to try to force it to battle shock. Because it's not an aura, it's just a thing. Which is neat. Which means I could also run an Abominant alongside my Mutalith Vortex Beasts. And the Mutalith Vortex Beasts would trigger the mortal wounds as well. and then he would trigger Mortal Wounds on top of it with a different thing. So you could technically stack Mortal Wounds, interestingly, with that squad. I would never do it, of course. Let me go to Ash Gray. We need to be really light touch with this Ash Gray.
No control over where we go, but we don't care to know. Ignorance is bliss. Your tears are gone, and they drifted back from where they came, and they will not be missed. Look up and feel the shifting winds tossing us around again. Hold tight, you're ready to begin, and just levitate.
Bye, never mind. What's going on, Dragon? What's happening here? Good, buddy? Good? Dude, we're getting a lot of this music. Like, we've gone this far into the YouTube music section that we're just getting tons of like Far East music. I just want more. I want to be able to pick these. What? Okay, that's weird.
I'm sorry for the things I said. I never meant to break you.
I'm gonna be here for a few more hours, man. We got stuff to do. Says I didn't drop any frames, so I don't know what's up. Maybe it's your local server. I don't know how these things work with friggin' YouTube.
And I hold my breath while you choke. I watch the cars crash in slow motion.
Alright, we're gonna do a fun bead trick for the final bit for these bases.
All I know is the chase. I never learned how to stay. The truth is I'm no good for
I
you.
need a tray for this trick.
Probably know it by now, but in case you don't, or you maybe forgot, give me one more chance and I'll let you down. And I hope that you find somebody to love. It's what you deserve. Someone to adore.
I should probably get more white ink.
I'm not her. All I can promise
I thought I had more.
is the worst.
think I found my other bottle. Oh yeah, this one's mostly full. Could have swore I had this. I haven't seen it in a while, is the issue. Alright, let's get the right size brush to feed the ink in. White ink, baby. Bright titanium white. Flows and drips into everything you actually need to hit.
The truth is, I'm no good for you, and you should know it by now. In case you don't, or you maybe forgot, give me one more chance, and I'll let you down.
Back at it, man. I'm not even trying. I mean, sometimes it's a vibe, but like, not always. I think I'm gonna stick with it though. I'm gonna stick with the list that I have planned. I think it's fine. I think it covers what I want out of my army, which is the ability to quickly perform turns. So I can try to like keep a good pace. Because if I have so many repetitive things on the list, and all those things are very limited for amount of models, so I don't have to move a ton. I think that kind of works out. I don't know, maybe we do a paint night tonight. Maybe not though, because like it's Easter Monday. I feel like a lot of people are probably gonna not want to just like go out and hang out. I think like a lot of it's probably gonna be, you know, stay home, do family stuff. I I haven't seen a lot of people talk on the Discord about paint night tonight, so I don't know what's going on. You gotta strip repaint them, or do you have like a quick method of not needing to strip repaint them and not make them look bad? That's gotta be a paint someone invents. Like a paint that just, it's super thin, but it's super dominating as a pigment. So that you barely need to add any onto a surface to like shift its color. Like a different hue. Like that'd be really cool, like hue shift paint. So like someone gives you a bunch of friggin'. It was alright. I went to my cousin's. Found out my cousin basically goes to the store, the hobby store that I go to, or I've been trying to go to paint. He goes there for like RC car stuff because he's gotten into RC cars, which has been it's interesting. It's a fun concept. I didn't expect that.
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up.
He also goes to the store occasionally that I'm gonna go to for the tournament. He was like, "Oh, you go to this one over here?" I'm like, "Yeah, man. It's literally this Saturday. I'm gonna be there, friggin' 9-10 hours playing a tournament." He was like, "Oh shit." Oh yeah, we skipping this. Let's go here. Hopefully it's not a big deal for getting too gloppy. Hopefully the person that painted them originally for you is alright. At not like overpacking that stuff in.
On your mind, keep walking. Spit your words on someone else. Don't act like you're so obsessed with me, with me. You know that I ain't coming back. I'm sorry. Read my lips, you do not like that. You're drowning without me. Take it all back, but if you want my sympathy, honey, well, come as a bitch, get ready for this. Trust my best, confess. You hate me wearing the pants. If you weren't so damn obsessed with making me a perfect lie. Makeup is out, naturals in, letting my skin glow out. Yes, you can shit if you don't like this. You still live in your man's world. I'm not gonna spend the night. I'm talking. You got bad things on your mind. Keep walking. Spit your words on someone else. Don't act like you're so obsessed with me.
Ooh, this is coming together, man. Loving it. I feel like I could do the Demon Prince conversions, which IMO I probably do need to do. I think Demon Princes, especially Thousand Sun Demon Princes, are like worth it. I kind of want to do a twin winged demon list. Because what would be cool about a Thousand Suns Twin Demon list is if you can get enough Cabal points, like this would be one where I would want Cabal points for it. So I would have to kind of plan the rest of the units around that. I would want the Demon Princes. I would want one of them to have like the Vortex to be really powerful at melee. And then I would want the other one to have the Echo, the ability to use a Cabal function that's already been used that round. Lord of Forbidden Lore. That way I could re-deep strike both of them almost every turn. Actually, maybe I wouldn't put the Vortex on one of them. Instead I would do Lord of Forbidden Lore on one, and then I would do the Teleport Crystal on the other. I feel like there's something to that. Because the Teleport Crystal is just an enhanced version of Re-Deep Strike. I feel like. It can be done turn one, which is important. Maybe. I don't know. There's probably a better unit to use for the Re-Deep Strike system. The issue is I would want to use my Blue Horror concept for it, because having a forward deploy list as a Thousand Suns army that also comes with like a ton of ability to get to the front line would be great. I would need to think about it, man. The idea would be if I could get 14 Cabal points, right? Like that's the big thing. If I can get to 14 Cabal points, that would be important, since both Demon Princes could Deep Strike wherever, and then they could also Temporal Shift, and that's huge for a Demon Prince, is the ability to just be like 9 inches away from where they need to be, or even on where they need to be. Like if they can get to where they need to be, they're good, but if they have to Deep Strike within 9 inches of it and then sprint to it, you get to Temporal Shift in your shooting phase, which means you can drop them where they need to go and then just move them. I think, what, 12 inches because they're flying? I think it's 12 inches for the Winged Demon Princes. So they're going to be where they want to be. They just can't run into melee. But sadly, the Tzeentch Mark gives them the best shooting among all the Demon Princes, so, like, there you go. You have the shooting, which is not that great, in my opinion. Which is why most people think they're not, like, good. It's just that their shooting is the best element of them, whereas almost every other faction has some level of melee enhancement to them. Which, that's what everyone wants on a Demon Prince. He's gonna be up close and personal. We have to work on that in a minute. Still a lot of wet primer in there. Thin wire. Everyone I've looked at that talks about doing Cork as your base shows that you usually want to Dremel into your unit's foot and put like a wire in it so that you can just push it into the cork and have it hold that way. This is a Christmas song. Next page.
Yeah. Please tell me that I can't, that I won't, that I fail, that I'll never make it out, yeah.
Ugh. I wish Cabal points weren't such a limiting factor. The list that I'm using is very low on Cabal points, which any Thousand Sun like pro player will gladly inform you that that's a bad idea. Oh, if you lose one champion, you lose your ability to do extra things that are useful for points gains. And it's like, yeah, I get it. But, you know, good luck trying to kill frickin' Magnus, I guess. At some point, I should make a Cabal shenanigans list, though. It would just be useful to have, I think. Cabal shenanigans. It is our whole purpose as an army. And there's a lot of armies out there that when they start leaning into their best strengths, like Miracle Dice and everything, that's when they do well. Grayed out a little bit. Oh. Must feed the white ink. A little bit more on here. We're waiting for parts of this to dry. I don't know if that's going to be the case yet. Mix, 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 mix. Oh. You know it's bad when the basing takes like hours and you barely did anything to really make it kind of its own thing. They finally announced the day, I guess? Nice. I know a lot of people have been worried about a lot of these releases coming up. Dude, there's already been like Reddit posts of people freaking out about the Warhammer releases of the next codexes and stuff. They're like, why haven't I heard anything? What's happening? Like everyone's just flipping out. I kind of want to put orange in the airbrush. I don't know. Just like run it along the actual fault lines on this. Get a little outer spray. What the hell song is this? Everything's Gone Gray.
Charlotte, you're getting the hang of it. Look at you now, you're doing it. Charlotte, brave enough to admit what you want from the moment. So keep going, kid. The world may not have noticed yet, but I did. Charlotte, It's been a hard month, noises in the night, we all slept rough. Charlotte, it's beautiful, isn't it? The moon on the rooftops, the silver light drips. Sweet dreams, kid. I hope you find some peace while you're sleeping.
Yeah, it's always the worst when you like get a song going from like a list you're not completely familiar with, and then like out of nowhere one of the songs like starts up, and it's just ambient noise. Cause like you can't know, man. Like, oh god, did my computer freeze?
Charlotte, you're busy growing quick flowers in the garden. The summer air sticks. Charlotte, you're bleeding at the knees, climbing up the windshield, trying to reach the storm front coming this way. Don't worry about the thunder, it's how the heat breaks. We're all wishing on the rain. Maybe in the downpour things will change. My love turned to stone. The giant of my heart till the sun rose. My heart turned to stone too. Threw it in the ocean blue. I watched it sink, didn't dare to blink.
The hell is this
I
song?
know the sea takes secrets to keep. Felt the distance between the shooting stars we count for luck and the pearls buried deep.
Like the song feels like the AI understanding of what music is. Putting words together that kind of rhyme.
My love built me a house, but the walls were a trap, so I struck them down. What did he expect of a wish held captive? And still he slept through the racket. The daylight was soft when it arrived. Flesh became stone in a moment. Now I walk the world alone. Tie your feet in old bones.
Yeah, especially in any kind of online sense. I mean, it's already a thing, right? Like, there's been channels on YouTube that have popped up with people who are like, hi, I'm an AI songwriter and singer. And, like, they're trying to make those personalities, like, a thing. This is going to be a little bit of back and forth with the mixing. We already pre-whited a little bit, but now I think we're going to, as we drop the high flow orange in and get it to where it needs to go, we're then going to kind of go back in with the white as well to try to like pop areas up. Because it does pull it to like a different side. It's like a little bit more yellow than orange when the white ink hits it and mixes properly. We're practically mixing the liquid energy in here. Give it like a little bit of a gradient vibe, I guess, to it, rather than just leaving it flat. This stuff does take a minute to dry, which is good for what we're doing. Like with it down, I can go into the white ink, drop it in, and then mix. It pulls it a little brighter in some areas. I'm liking them. I'm liking them, definitely. It's good because it gives sort of visual purpose to why the orcs have that underglow going for them. It's a little more extreme too, so it provides a little bit more, like, I guess, life to what I'm working on here. Definitely gonna have to do a little bit of corrective.
It was a heartbreak, a blood soak. When the river ran red, I knew we could not float. I walk with you through the great divide. Still I'm yours from the other side.
Humbered. I kind of want to look into this.
How the tall grass reaches wide. Ghost of the buffalo passing by. Lincoln, how will your country die? Rain falls hard from that open sky. the truth, the truth, the truth. Oh, how the tall grass reaches wide. Ghost of the buffalo passing by. Thinking, how will your country die? Rain falls hard from that open sky.
I'm looking it up. Humbird. Choral collaboration with Humbird. Genre folk. Song. Members Siri Undine. Alright, I'm gonna assume it's real. I don't know, it just feels weird. Like the lyrics do really feel like just saying stuff to say stuff. Let's get some more ink down just in case I need it. We still got so many bases to go through, man. It's 2 o'clock. I feel like I've just been doing bases all day long. So the question is, do I actually go to this paint night tonight? I don't think I do. I'm gonna check their Discord soon. See if there's any people like, yeah. Who's all in? I'll bring a pizza. Like that kind of stuff. Like I do, like I said, I want to get started on one of my more in-depth videos, I guess. Get started on the Castigator video or the Mutal Vortex Beast video. Also, I looked at the slow flat paints. They do look really good to like paint miniatures with. You do need to kind of like plan on just using them as manual paint more than anything else. Like, that could actually be a really good model paint. I think you might have to use medium to like loosen it up a little bit. You know, thin it out. But for the most part, the colors that it has are so vibrant and perfect for like a lot of situations. Could be a good one to try to add to your list of collected products to paint with. I might take another look at. I think when this is done, we're gonna do another ash white dry brush to try to like fix some of the edges up around the top part. More ambient noise. Skip.
Waking up, it's gone. It leaves us feeling cold again. Picking up the stones our hands were made to feel. And moments like these, they show us what we've got when we ain't got a thing. We've got us. We've got
I'm gonna wait for that to quickly dry.
We've got us. We've got us. We've got us. Yes. His eyes look infected. His left ankle is bruised. Taking happiness for granted. Mistakes happen.
moving away from like the pop songs and going into like ambient music. It's so weird.
I hope to break myself open, drain this poison water, let it flow back to its ocean that I've called Father. Every absence is a door to walk through, and it all leads to empty room. And the writing on the wall says we were never here. But if all is a salve for my sin, I've gone blind. We are not hard to find, but we're all lost all of the time. And I was a creature of habit. I got myself stuck on your rapid trails, but I'm trying hard to leave myself. When you're constantly in motion, the forest has no trees, and the one I climbed is broken, and I fell quick through its eerie
Yeah, some of it.
all
Most
my
of it's, like,
cravings
weird and
in your
eerie.
absence moved to lesser
Kinda, like,
ones that I
meaningless.
love to, and the writing on the wall says
Meandering
we were
ambience.
fading quickly. I dreamed of ropes tied round the rafters. I heard your heart shatter, and I woke and cried till my eyes saw things clearly. The fear would keep me here, even if this life had scared me.
Some of this up even more. Few spots that are pulling weird.
But if all is a salve for my sin, I've gone blind. I am not hard to find, but I feel lost all of the time. And I was a creature of habit. I am leaving your rabbit trails, and I am trying hard to believe myself.
You were the one in Discord bringing that up, right? Pulling your punches. You doing the thing of like, oh, look at that, you won.
There's a man
Now you can get really into this,
He's been
and then I will
asking me for
dominate you.
change, and I could use some.
The classic
Think
nerd
I could
approach.
use some sometimes. All
Learn
these
them in,
things slow me down.
giving them reason
Like
to
the
want to keep
concrete that's
playing.
been sticking to the bottom of my shoes.
You can shatter their
Someone's worn and
hopes.
tired have started wearing through. I can feel them heavier now.
Oh, look at that, you outscored me. I know I pulled off the points randomly when I got the things that would have scored more points on that, but you know. Hey, you just outplayed me. Now pick an army and paint it. Let's go, old man.
An open door. But on the highway, heavy-hearted, humming just to hear a sound. Loneliness, it lingers through unfamiliar towns, all of them stunning, and none of them whole.
times do I have to teach you this lesson?
Can't say if I do it for the foolish pride. Or maybe it's all just to prove that I'm alive. I'm alive, so I tell
Where'd my drawbrush go?
myself I'm brave. And I swear that I'm bold, but I'm afraid
Is this it?
it isn't so. Maybe I'm nothing more than Am I rhyming just to rhyme? 'Cause sometimes it seems running is all I've ever done. But is there something more to settle for that I've given up? Does this fickle heart feel trapped in love? Is there something more to settle for? Have I just given up? Does my fickle heart still believe in love?
Ugh, I need to wait for some of it to dry a little bit more than it has. Go back over top of it. This one's gonna need to dry a little bit. This is a weird crossover of audio. Choke Me Out to Futurama. I kind of want to hear what this is. Oh no, this is just random noise music. Alright, let's do... We got a lot of basing to do, actually. So, like, this is gonna dry a little bit. I gotta get the desert color. We gotta do the desert color dry brush here. We gotta do Runic Gray on the last units from Black Fortress, because we can't forget those guys. Oh god. Does that include the Death Guard special rules? Because, dude, Death Guard special rules, so good. Death Guard special rules are pretty top tier. A lot of people are like, yeah, they're way too good. It's such a good ability to just straight negate and manipulate other armies. It's gonna be awesome because, like, if enough Death Guard really start getting into the game, it's gonna shift the meta into armies needing to have a lot of anti-modifier function. Or like invulnerable saves. Which SM Combat Patrol? The standard new one, or did you do any of like the weird other ones? Like the, what is it? The new Dark Angels, I guess, one? Or is that not really one? Or did you do the one from the White Dwarf? Because the one from the White Dwarf sounds like it could be really fun. But I feel like no one has those units like on hand. Because the units being used are just like weird units that nobody uses or has. I think I posted the rules for that unit in the Discord. People could use them if they wanted. It seemed cool because it's like more of a scouting approach to teams.
You give me all I need.
I'm not perfect.
I can't see anything that I don't like about you.
But you
Right
will.
now I can't.
But you will.
Standard one. Standard one's weirdly strong, dude. Infernus Marines? Oh my god. So strong.
Okay.
Freaking brick of Terminators.
Okay.
The only thing it's not good against are the armies that come with tanks, because Tank Shock basically circumvents Terminator power. Boarding action. New boarding actions are weird. I've looked at the boarding action rules. They're super limiting. I feel like the Thousand Suns boarding action team doesn't even involve the boarding action units that come from the box. You get Rubric Marines, but I don't think you can take Chaos Spawn anymore. Which is very peculiar. Let's actually black border this. Where's my black? Necromancer there it is. This is an interesting, just general song. And then I looked over. The band name is Shrimp Nose. All one word. I don't know what I'm looking at.
Kill the buzz, but ain't no problem dealing with these bitches, cause
one night they in love, but it get obnoxious when I need me time. You know ratchet is as it does, so I get cautious when I'm in a feline. Like FIFA, I'm gon' come. Be hotter than buns. Back on that bullshit, we got me going dumb. Jesus Christ on the drugs. I don't know you nigga, you ain't squad.
I don't know. I don't know if a group called Shrimp Nose should go this hard. Doesn't feel right.
Just when you thought it was over, I roll up a leaf for that sour and tickle your tongue. Before you go talk out your neck, better check, make that chip on your shoulder, get crumpled the crumbs. Rough for they feather, these niggas is bumps. So I ride alone when I wanna turn up. I did it all just because. Oh, would you look at that?
Or maybe that makes it more badass. I'm not sure.
I might fall into the darkness, whatever. I might fall and fall apart, yeah, it's whatever. Fuck you mean, you see I'm frozen, I'm like a ghost, man.
So, forever ago, there was a YouTube video that my friends found that we would watch occasionally because it was like ridiculous. It's a kind of a meme. I don't know if you guys have ever seen it. You might have, because again, massive meme. It's like the slowest possible recording, or like it's kind of slow, but maybe it's them just pretending to do stuff in slow motion. The song is called "I'm the Best." That feels like this, right? Like I feel like that should be this song. I still don't understand that channel. That channel is one of the things that I would easily point to be like, hey, this is why YouTube is absolutely random. Because a channel like this gets friggin' millions of views. On like a couple meme as hell songs. Dude, they're so meme. And the other day, I was watching one of the people I watch on Twitch when I'm getting like work done, and he started watching YouTube videos suggested by his community, and that song came up. Like that was like one of the songs that was suggested, and apparently this person never saw it. Like this was something that this skipped over this person for like weird meme songs. And he watched the whole thing and he was like, what the hell was that? Started laughing. It was great. It was just so weird to see like a meme song that I remember come back up after years. Talking about the new combat. Wait, hang on. Let me. Still in the White Dwarf and Combat Patrol. Combat Patrol. Wait, do you have to buy the Combat Patrol to get suppressor units? Like they don't sell them separately? Or are you saying that's the only way to get suppressors in Combat Patrol? Because agree. And it's a cool unit. Dude, I love that unit. The flying autocannon unit. Like there's something so funny about it to me. Because you know autocannons have a lot of kickback when they fire. Right? Like they just do. And then you just have this vision in your head of some guy like flying around with a suppressor or a freaking autocannon, and he pulls the trigger and he's just like getting tossed around while firing. He's just like, whoa! His jetpack's fighting the friggin' the pushback on it. I don't know, I love that unit. They are actually a good unit? Because I always heard people like meme on them a little bit and talk about how they're not that great. I think my one friend started using them in his army because he had a bunch and he was like, no one uses these and I like them. And I was like, oh dude, I kind of want to play against them because I also like them and I don't even play Space Marines. I'm just hyper interested in that unit. If I were to play Space Marines, I would build around that unit. I would probably go Raven Guard as a team. That would probably be my chapter of choice just for visual. Unless I make a custom. And then that would be it. Like, I would just have 3 squads of suppressors or something. Probably a boatload of, like, Reavers. Just want those little grab shoots non-stop. Alright, this is that Humbird ban again. That sounds like it's AI. It might just be like someone trying to sing American folk music as a person who's not like a native English speaker. I don't know. It's like weird. So like some of the nuance of language is lost. Oh, so they actually do suppression. That's what my that's one of the main things that my Forge Fiends are for. That's only against like non-monsters, non-vehicles, right? That's usually how that works. But it's such a good ability to have, to be like, oh, you got this really strong thing over here, like your Hellblasters or something? Oh, let me give them a -1 real quick. That's actually the thing with my Castigator too. My Castigator does that. I'm actually leaning into... I think with my Knights army, I think one of the things I have to crack, I wanted to try to keep my Castigator alive for a while because the whole aura and handing it out and doing all that, you know, I thought it was important. I'm starting to think it's not that important anymore. I'm thinking with units like the Castigator, that unit needs to be in combat in turn 1. Like, it needs to charge, it needs to just be in someone's face. Because it's allowed to shoot in melee, so it's not that big of a deal. It can suppress stuff. It could probably suppress the unit it's in melee with, depending on what it is. Well, that's good. I hope Thousand Suns get like a suppressor style unit. We need something, man. We need like a squad of guys that fly around with like specialty weapons. Maybe we can get a squad of sorcerers specifically and have them be like pretty expensive, but then provide so many Cabal points. And have like interesting sets of abilities you can take. That's the one thing I think they need to bring back for Thousand Suns. Variants in spells. Like, most of the units have individual spells, but if we could get units of sorcerers where it's like, oh, you could focus on anti-movement spells with these guys, or you could do damage, or you could do enhancement, or you could do debuff, and like the list just goes on, but you have to take it like War Gear. So you pick the squad, and you can kind of build your army around that squad by being like, oh, this army, if it gets outmaneuvered, I'll lose. So let me take the anti-movement sorcerers. Help out a little bit. I think that would be super useful. Super useful. We need a new unit, though. We need something to fill. Something that just feels better. I'd be okay with bringing a Siren Dreadnought up to 40k standards. But personally, I would rather have it be like a squad of models that are very specific and unique in their actions. I don't think we need heavy weapons. We have access to most of like the tanks that would matter for that. But then in the unit sizes, the ability for me to change my guns up to have like psychic function and do all this and all this other extra stuff, I think that's enough, honestly. Like, I've wiped out large scale monsters with Rubric Marines just because I've turned that large scale monster's armor save off. I think we get damage from the right place. I do. I feel like our damage potential is fine. I don't think we need much more out of that. I don't know. I think having more like tricks up our sleeve units, that is probably where Thousand Suns need to shine a little more. Because that's our army, right? Like, our army is the, hey, you're going to be dealing with magic. Like, it's a little annoying. There's probably a lot of gotcha moments. There's people who are going to be like, oh, I have to risk you not rolling a 2+. But if I don't risk it, I'm going to lose anyway. So let me go over there. I'm wondering what they're going to do with the other enhancements. Because I feel like the enhancements we have access to right now are all very good. And, like, I don't even know if they could add that much to the army by changing up what the enhancements are. For giving you access to different ones. I feel like we're at that place where the enhancements of the magic detachment is just, it's so good. It's so stupidly good. They're so perfect. Maybe there'll be some that have more access to like weird psychic enhancement function. Or maybe some of them will have enhancements that are spells. Like, that might be where the spells come back into play, that you can pick and choose and purchase. Turning them into enhancements. Let me do... my dry brush go? Oh, there it is. Because yeah, once you realize the power of a Forge Fiend, you're not super interested in needing people on foot with heavy weapons. Power of a Forge Fiend, power of a Mutilate Vortex Beast, you're good. You're pretty clocked out on needing heavy weapons. I mean, I already don't min-max sorcerer points. I feel like the sorcerer points are a trap. You can do great things with them, but like you don't need to use them. There's so many really good standalone units in the Thousand Suns list that constantly leaning into sorcerer points as the way you're gonna win could lead you down a road of being trapped, right? Like if that's your only outcome is needing to use sorcerer points, like all it's gonna take is someone who knows how that works. We're still riding on like sort of what happens in fighting games, the notion of people don't fully understand how those points really work, so they don't plan for it. They don't go into a tournament knowing like, oh, if I just do this, it'll counter like half the stuff they do, or to understand like, oh well, this is the most amount of damage that can put out. Let me plan around making sure that I'm not that worried about that. Right? Like that's kind of the whole thing with it. How do we glue these down? Do I super glue them? I don't even know. Plastic glue won't really work here. Maybe we rely on the Mod Podge again. Oh no, absolutely. Because I feel like most of the Thousand Suns players didn't want to, but like the one guy who went to a tournament and was like, you know what, screw it, I'll just do it, we'll see what happens. And then he almost won the whole thing by like a lot. I feel like that was kind of like the moment when everyone looked at it and was like, oh yeah. My small bases. Get the garrote going. The garrote. The issue with the garrote, I think I might need to clip some of this off. Where's my clippers? There we go. On top of this to try to pull it back, but we don't need the whole thing. We just need the part that's actually full. Where's the squig?
All around the world, everybody's freaking out now. All I really
So now it makes sense.
when can I go out of my house?
What the hell? Isolation. Oh, Jesus. Because now there's just that little bit of glow from below. I also want to try to finish at least one of the shirts that I've been trying to design. That's another thing I got to start working on a little bit more. Focus on it. Back onto their bases. This one was going to be a struggle. That one, I rebooted, I restarted it, because I'm trying... Digital still messes with me, man. I'm so much more attuned to physically inking things that part of me actually wants to just do the physical ink of it. Like, I wish I had a good way to scan it and work on it that way after the fact. But I know if I can just figure out the right tools to utilize and be okay with for the digital side, like, it'll speed up my process a lot. I know it will. Because I've seen a lot of artists that do really good inking digitally. And I think it's also because my brain doesn't work the same way digitally, because I'm assuming I'm going to color it a lot. So I put a lot of effort into leaving the open area so I can color. But I need to... I'm from the school of very graphic, black and white, sharp illustration. And I've always loved that, using negative space, drawing the eye. I've always paid attention to like Sean Gordon Murphy's work and stuff like that really lean into that side of stuff. Pat Boutine. Humberto Ramos. There's Simone de Mayo. Like, there's so many people I look at who lean heavily into the black and the white, and maybe even a little bit of the gray toning to establish foreground and background. Like, there's stuff that I look at where I'm like, yeah, that's what I want. And then I try to do it, and it's like, oh, I did not do this right in digital. But then I do it physically, and it's perfectly fine. It looks great. And it's just kind of annoying that I have to, like, sort this out now. But the Black Templar one I actually want to do. I want to finish it. Because that one feels like the most complete idea that I've done so far of all the shirts I've started. So that one I definitely want to, like, pull together. Ooh, actually, I need to make sure. Good. Not good. It's just there's a disconnect. Like, I've done so much physically for like 20 years of my life that it's like I've had enough of a conversation with the tools of a digital or a physical artist. The brushes, the inks, all of it. That I feel fine in that avenue. Like, I feel like when all that's done, it's like, yeah, it worked. I might have to texture paste this area to push it down a little bit. That's fine. I'm not that worried about texture pasting it. And then to go to the conversation of, rather than having, you know, this in my hand where I kind of know the bristles, I know how it feels against a surface and all that, I am to take a pen that has the exact same feeling regardless of what tool I'm having it imitate, and then trying to think of angle and pressure and everything onto a page to get it to do the things I want. It doesn't always do it exactly how I'm hoping. And that's like annoying as hell to me.
Your truth is buried deep below.
Because like if I want those little like triangular shading moments, like those little hits, you know, you get your brush, you make sure the brush tip is straight, and then you just kind of like go like at an angle across the surface, and you can quickly and easily just be like, there you go, and you're done. I do that digitally, never works. Every time I'm like, all right, this brush should do it. It's supposed to be a simulation of an actual physical brush. If I hold it at an angle, it should change the shape of the brush tip from a circle to an oval. Like, it should be fine, and then it just isn't. And that is so obnoxious to me. Hell yeah, team glued back down. Time is it? 3 o'clock already? I feel like we just did basing today. Alright, we got a little bit of time left. I need to do Runic Gray. Where'd that go? Mastigator's base is pretty much dry. That's good. Be able to put him back in his case. So I think when I get home tonight, I'm gonna sit down and hyper focus on the Black Templar shirt idea. We'll do that first. We're gonna focus on that. I'm gonna try to schedule my time this week for specific things because it's raining all week. Like, it is a full week of rain around here, so I got stuff to do. I have time off tomorrow pretty much during the day because I don't plan on streaming or going anywhere. I'm being very focused internally, or I'm trying to be very focused internally, because people on the Discords for all the different groups locally have been like, yo, anyone want to take a game Wednesday or Tuesday? And I'm like, man, those are the days I normally don't stream. I could easily do that. And I have to like stop myself and just be like, no. You have a tournament Saturday. Let's try to get a video together for next week. That actually looks cool. It might be fun for people to watch. That's why I'm thinking like I'm gonna take a look at the Discord for the local areas. And if the local Discord is like, doesn't really sound like there's a lot going on for the painting thing tonight, probably just won't go. I'll be fine not doing it. Because the only thing I could think of doing at the painting thing is taking the orcs with me and taking the blues that I think I want their outfits to be in. Because the Asserman, I think, is too bright. It's too bright, it's too flat. I want to start at a darker blue and work up. Like, I almost wouldn't feel bad just coating them in Leviathan blue as a base and then doing, like, deep blue. Sort of build-up texture. The thing that really gets me, though, for the digital side of things, is because I am thinking on the whole, like, I do better physically for inking and working on, like, the basics of the illustration. And it does kind of slow the process down a little bit because I don't have the equipment on hand to scan that properly or do any of that. But there is kind of a layer that like Ryan Otley, the key artist for, or like the main artist for the Invincible comic book series. He did like a bunch of stuff with Spider-Man. He's a really good comic book artist. A lot of people use him for projects. His process that he's been very clear on, he sketches digitally, prints the sketch that he likes the best out at full scale for how he's going to ink it, which is usually on a standard blue line paper, which is usually like 11 by 17 at full size. So it's big. It's a big one. And then he'll physically ink that because he also believes in his own personal like existence that his inking is better physically than digitally. And then he'll send it to the colorist, or I think he colored some stuff himself once, maybe like a Grizzly Shark. or whatever he did for his own thing, and I feel like the colors are usually very simple, decent, but not like crazy. It's all about that line work that he does. Okay. Their base is almost done. Thursday we can come back and do the little yellow lining on them to get them prepped for that. These orcs though, man.
Some days are good and some years aren't. Some people change.
It gives it purpose with that orange in the crack. It just makes it feel like it's right? Like, let me get the focus going. No, it's like a small window. There we go. Yeah, it feels better. They're doing what they need to do. They feel right. Got a lot of work to do on the armor. Where'd my deep blue go? Do a real quick test. Focus. Focus, 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 focus. There you go.
Some days are good and some years aren't. Some days are good and some years aren't. But some days are good.
Phone call. Colors down on the thing he's standing on. Make it make sense. think we'll get a little texture paste on here actually too. I'll do this base color, but I think it is important to get to coarse pumice gel, and we're not going to use a lot. It's mostly going to be just about getting it on this outskirt area. We try to tuck this component in to the overarching terrain. Same thing back here. Paint it gray and it's set. Switch over to the rubber brush. Dip some up here. Probably have to do more with this on a few of the characters who have those weird little components around their feet, like the squig and the grot. I think there's like 2 other units. Greedy gold. Can I pull a brass out or no? I kind of want to do a brass or a bronze. I could have swore I pulled one out. Bright gold, greedy gold, gunmetal, shining silver. Those are all the metals I've pulled out for that. Plate metal. Weapon bronze, here we are. I haven't used bronze like on any weapons across anything that I've put together. So I am kind of interested in using it here. I think though what I want to do I feel like this doesn't work. I don't like it. I feel like what we need to do with the guns is what I was kind of thinking I was gonna have to do, which is we have to color it. We have to put down a flat color related to the metal and go from there. Because that looks too weird. Just being like a dark blue to a color. Which kind of also means we need to do that with the weapons too. So like if I am gonna do gunmetal, we gotta like kind of go gray first. Like we can start from a dark gray and work off of it.
Holding my breath for a while until an end is apparent. I've been pressing my lips to a smile, just try to grin and bear it.
We can do that. And then I could go Fondia Brown. Some spots. There's the gunmetal. That way there's a base color under the metal. So when the light's not directly on it, you'll still see kind of like at least a tinge of the color that the metal is supposed to be representing. And that'll probably be fine.
Capsize me with the sound. Why don't you open up your mouth? Come and shake me down to the ground. 'Cause sometimes it takes a rage and river to make the dam come crashing down. I wanna hear you getting loud, loud, loud. I wanna hear you getting loud, loud, loud. I wanna hear you getting loud, loud, loud.
coffee's ready if you'll have some. And breakfast should be finished soon. The paper called for sun tomorrow. It looks like rain the whole day through. Morning left us both defeated. The mailman left another bill. The hallway closet's overflowing with all those shoes too big to fill. So what's that song you used to sing me? What's that dance we
I'm gonna ponder
used
on
to
this. I don't know if I like this mask. I kind of want to. I gotta remember, an orky thing to do is black and white, right? The black and white checkers. Maybe parts of their masks and stuff might need to lean into the black and white checkering. We'll see. For now, this will be it for what we've done today. Which is good. Got a lot of work done. Got a lot of stuff pushed. I'm liking the bases. I'm liking kind of the direction they're going in. Definitely have to hit a few of them on parts. This back bit here with some of that texture paste to fix some components. Maybe we'll look at that later. Go through all of them, find the ones that need texture paste and just do it real quick. But that'll be for later. I gotta get moving.
say it like you mean it.
I'm liking it. I'm liking where they're going.
I don't mean it like I say.
Ugh, so much more to do though, which is wild considering what they are. They're taking almost as long as my Castigator. That's so weird to me. Thanks for hanging out. Hopefully I can get a video out by next week about something. Either the MVBs, the Castigator, something like that. We'll see. We'll see. And then I got my tournament Saturday, which is pretty sweet. Thanks for hanging out. See you guys next time.